All right, welcome back, everybody, from the break. It's true, Hex. It can happen. Gladiators, the reverse sweep is possible. They ran it back from an 0-2 deficit, and now we're tied up at 2-2. And so it's going to be Lijiang Tower, a control map to sort things out here.
And the control was so close between these two teams earlier that I flip a coin and that's who I'm picking in it. I'm just glad we get some bonus Overwatch here. We do have a substitute. Bishu is out, Asher is in, which means that Asher, Hydration, and Shore4 are in this lineup. Now, what does that tell us? Maybe they can run a different tank. Hydration is a more than capable Roadhog. Shore4, if they need it, can run a Zarya. Shore4 can run anything. It doesn't matter.
Be fair here. Just throw it out there, right?
It doesn't matter. He can run anything. So on Control Center, where you can sometimes see a Zarya in the composition, he could play that. But they have a lot of flexibility. I know you're rooting for just all-out carnage, triple DPS.
Yes, please. Give me the action. Give me the kills. I want this to turn into a bloodbath. Straight up carnage to end it on the last map of the day here at Overwatch League. That's what it's all about as we get the fly through here of the variety of different points that these teams will be doing battle on. We're loading into the map now. So it's just a moment of time until we figure out exactly what the Shore4 of all trades is going to give us now.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Lijiang Tower is, every stage is great for Tracer. It's Tracer's best map. It always has been, in my opinion. I'm always thrilled to see this come up when I'm queuing. It's one of my favorite maps in all of the games, so you're obviously not going to take Asher out. He's going to play Tracer nonstop. Carpe very well is too. But right now, just given the roster compositions, they have a chance, the Los Angeles Gladiators, to play more things than Philadelphia does, because Philadelphia is kind of locked in to their 2-2-2 role, whereas when you have a player like Shore4 who can play the tanks, and a player like Hydration who can flex on the tanks as well, the world is your oyster and you can play absolutely anything.
Well, moving into it now, I'm kind of curious if we are going to get to see the triple DPS. That would be so sick as the change up, and it could be something that could really catch Philadelphia off guard. I want to see the all-out battle. Sorry, it's just, come on. It's fun to see 2-2-2 and all that all the time, but really right now, when you can kind of catch your opponent off guard, maybe just try and make some magic happen here.
Well, we have 5 seconds until your wish comes true, sir, because the Los Angeles Gladiators are queued up into triple deeps is the shorthand. Triple DPS damage per second. Yeah. Shore4 on the Widow of all things. Hydration will take to the skies. You have to favor the Gladiators in this initial matchup because I don't think Shadowbird knows what's coming at him.
This is going to get brutal. Not only does he have to deal with the Pharah, he's going to have to worry about a Widow as well, and that could be the big moment here for Shore4 to shine. And well, Shore4 is going to go ahead and pick up the kill on Neptuna to start things off. Big Goose with the follow-up. They're falling like flies right now. They're fusing into one, 6 feet under.
Oh no, oh no, does he get him? Oh!
Gets the shot! Shore4 styling right now, I love it.
Yeah, unfortunately those silhouettes are just for the Spectre at home. Shore4 can't see them. When they are filled in with his infrared sight, that's when he can see them, so just guesswork there, unable to know when exactly they come through the door. But speaking of seeing through walls and infrared sights, Shore4 can now see through walls.
And the whole team too, so now it is for real, and there you go, that's what happens when you come around the corner, and well, your teammate can see you coming, or your opponents rather can see you coming as well.
When I hear that French phrase, I just don't leave spawn. I mean, she can see through walls, guys. I'm not going out there. It has finally faded away, so Shore4 without that assistance, but already 30% on the map for the Gladiators and counting up. What is the response from the Philadelphia Fusion? Well, they're gonna fight French with French as Carpe moves over to the Widowmaker himself.
Turns out it will turn into the battle of the baguettes. And why not? Baguettes are great. All right, there are so many ways to go with that, and that's why it's hot potato. We're gonna let it drop because now Hydration is just raining in death, and he was looking for exactly that, trying to knock somebody off of the edge. But Carpe will find the kill on Big Goose, and that's all the opening the Philadelphia Fusion we're hoping to get here. That should be enough for them to push onto the point, unless Asher has something to say about it. Just commits with the pulse bomb, but they're getting traded out. And Philadelphia, they're sticking together as a unit right now. That's making all the difference. Carpe is reigning supreme right now.
Well, the big advantage as well is that Philadelphia has been running a Mercy this entire time, and Boombox did end up using his Valkyrie to resurrect his team and keep them all alive. That made the difference as well. Valkyrie has finally dissipated, but damage is done. As the Philadelphia Fusion will take control of the points. If this is any indication, we are in for one heck of a map number 5.
Yeah, this is going back and forth already. Carpe is the one chiming in. Quick flick. Remove Shore4.
He knows there's something back there. He's holding on to his ultimate. Again, the ultimate lets him see through walls and the rest of his team. It's just such a good information ultimate. Now everyone knows where everyone is. You will not get snuck on. And Asher tested the will of Carpe once too often.
That is so ridiculously fast. even with the help, Remix, he's so disgusted by how good Carpe is, he literally just threw himself off the side of the cliff. He was done. He was over. He did not want to have anything to do with this guy anymore because, again, Carpe! There is no escape, Surefour. There's no running away. There's no hiding from this man.
You know, I'm surprised they came out on the Widow here because given what Carpe did on Junkertown, I think it's like, Los Angeles, why'd you start with him? Why did you start? Why'd you make him go over to Widow again? Because he absolutely crushed it. And Surefour is a good Widow, but Carpe has gotten the much better of it so far. A mix-up here from the Gladiators as they start going a little tank heavier right now. Surefour moves over to the Roadhog. Hydration on Genji. They have completely switched comps.
You poke the spider, you're gonna feel the fangs. Right now, it's all about Poco just pumping the bullets in, and really, this is all out chaos. Attacks on all sides, and eventually, Remix comes out ahead, and he gets a key target as well. Boombox, no res possible now for the Philadelphia Fusion, and this is shaping up pretty nicely for Gladiators. Hydration follows it up, and that's the backline dead for Philadelphia Fusion. And it does look like the Gladiators, they will be able to bring it all together here and bring it home for the win. Point control will shift back to them. Just in the nick of time as well, but this is only the first point.
It can be so difficult for Mercy to fight on that point, and now, especially since they've switched their composition, she has no vertical escape anymore, which is how you usually see her. Should be just boosted all the way back. Yeah, he gets off the edge there. But now, Boombox is on the ground as Mercy. He has no verticality anymore because no one's out there. It's gonna be so hard for him to escape. He's essentially ground beef.
Big Goose commits the sound barrier to the fight. Surefour not quite going to get that hook, though, and so it's a bit of a back-and-forth tip of his hat as Boombox brings his teammate back to life. Definitely want to keep Neptuno in this one. Surefour point blank, that's exactly where you want to be. Just pumping rounds into Poco. Or into Fraggy, rather, but Fraggy's able to get out of there intact, it looks like.
Hydration gets the better part of that Genji duel. Meanwhile, Resurrection still coming onto the point, though. Hydration finds himself another support. Both supports now down for Philadelphia, and they are not long for this world. Can Carpe do it all by himself and bring it back? He's just got to stay alive long enough to let his team get back here. Going to be difficult to ask, though.
Yeah, has to keep contesting the point. That's what it's all about. Fraggy still hanging in here, still leaping. Oh, and he gets the primal off at the perfect time. That buys so much time for his team now to just get back together into a group and not just trickle in here. But as I say that, Shaz gets the kill on Carpe. Overtime is ticked over, and that will be the first point for Los Angeles Gladiators. They are 1 point away from making the reverse sweep happen.
That versatility came into play. They started out with a cool strat. It was working. It got countered by the pure mechanical skill of Philadelphia Fusion's ace in Carpe. And then when that gets countered, you don't necessarily have to out-Widow. You can just out-comp and make them make changes. And the Gladiators, with a little bit more flexibility, thanks to the Swiss Army knife that is Surefour.
They're looking pretty quiet over there for Philadelphia as well. Not too many people talking. Carpe not looking too happy about it.
Well, apparently it's not always sunny in Philadelphia.
Fire. Loving it. Let's go, guys. This is it. And the Gladiators, and the round has begun, and already we're seeing a change of strategy here. Surefour will go for the Zariel, as you said.
Yeah, Zarya going to be on both sides, actually. Shadowburn will run it on the other side. No surprise to see Fraggy running the Reinhardt. Reinhardt, Zarya, very popular on Control Center. This is the outlier on Lijiang Tower. Strategies get wildly different on this stage compared to the others.
Philadelphia are looking for a bit more of a beefy approach, though. Triple tank for them, and that's exactly what Surefour was looking for. He wants to hunt down Carpe right on the edge. Nearly picks up the kill, but pays for it with his life. There you go. Surefour, you're done.
Asher on this. McCree does give his life up for it too. Very back and forth, but most notably, Philadelphia has taken first control of this point. This is so good when you have tanks. I would like to see them play more aggressive. Maybe they will if they win another fight, because if you just simply deny entry, what you do with Earth Shatters and you do with Gravitons, the other team can never really get there. But who needs it? Carpe will just two-tap Shaz on his way in, and that's nearly a one fight. They're going to actually just res it right away.
Yeah, so one of the res is used here. Bigger's not going to be too happy about that one, but they are moving together as a unit, and this is really turning into the game of bait. Who is going to Earth Shatter first? Trying to bait it out of Fraggy. Fraggy's got it, and sure enough, lands it. Perfect, but the trance was there to save his teammates, and so they aren't going to get as much out of it in the end, although the trance eventually has to wear off, and that's when the damage is done.
They better win this fight because they doubled down with both of their giant ultimates. Graviton and Earth Shatter came out. Surefour tossed his Graviton late, and he gets nothing for it as well. So now the biggest ult on the field belongs to Remix at 75% on his Shatter. In Philadelphia, that could have been disastrous. They were able to heal their way through it, though, using both support ultimates.
And you got to give it to Carpe. There's nothing. So Tracer, Genji, pretty annoying, but a flanking McCree is a special kind of annoying. That's the one where you really start breaking keyboards.
That's a special kind of gutsy because he has no escapes if they come after him. He's got a somersault that is the least graceful move in the entire game.
Hey, there it is. Neptuno is out. Hydration nearly picks up the second one. That was a bit of a close call. Poco, though, curious to see how much work he's put in on this map for the self-destruct. You see him lining it up. He's just going to put it right over the edge and not going to find anybody at all. Great dodging tactics there from Los Angeles Gladiators to stay alive. And in the meantime, Surefour has won the duel versus Shadowbird. Shaz with the double. And this is looking like it is going to be a Los Angeles Gladiators point after all. But they've given themselves such a fine margin for error here. 90% already picked up for Philadelphia Fusion.
As good as Poco has been, you have to question his versatility. D.Va, this is one of her worst maps by far. There's too many shields to let self-destruct do a whole lot. So Poco is going to stay on that D.Va in this triple tank composition for the Philadelphia Fusion, but it may end up hurting them. There's simply more damage output on the side of the Gladiators.
And that's the thing, they stuck to their guns here, Gladiators, and so far it's paying off. iRemix has now got his Earth Shatter as well. They've lost Asher though, but Big Goose immediately gonna bring him back to life. And here we go. It all starts off, and it's just a carnage to start it off as well. Asher with the double, picking it up on cleanup duty. And enough is enough, but Asher not gonna let him. No.
That was just mean.
I need to pad my stats a little bit. I could let you go.
You want the extra little boost on your ultimate, but you already had ultimate. That was just cruelty.
That's what I'm saying, man. Players care about stats.
I'm so impressed.
They say that they don't.
I'm so impressed with Surefour. Like as they said, it's a small roster. Surefour is the 7th man on this team, and who else do you want coming off your bench that can play absolutely everything? His grab won that fight for him, already at 30% on the other side of things. Shatter comes down, but largely blocked.
Oh, this is big, and this is buying a lot of space here. Asher, what a fantastic Deadeye, just forcing him back around the corner, and that creates all the opportunities here for his team. If he can connect with Neptuno again, but that is such a hard target. Instead, it will be Surefour to find Carpe. Well, a little bit of purple in the kill feed, but it is getting a little dicey here. Philadelphia Fusion might be pulling ahead. Although, as I say that, it's not going to matter. Hydration is there to make it happen. And the shield was up for iRemix. Poco gets nothing for his self-destruct.
Now it's just getting odd because Shadowburn is on the Zarya while Carpe is on the Genji. That is not something you would generally see if they had their choice for the Philadelphia Fusion. And they will take it back against all odds. So one more fight incoming. Watch Surefour. He's at 91%, 92%. A grab could win the Los Angeles Gladiators this match.
Yeah, they need to stay alive to do it, though. We've ticked into overtime. Asher no longer has
a grab.
And there it is, the grab and the Deadeye. They are doing the damage. He's held onto it for as long as he possibly can, and Asher still manages to get the D-Mac with his ultimate in the end. Hydration swapped over to the Doomfist, and he's looking to land the punch. And make it go like clockwork. Poco is out of it. This might be happening. This could be it. Philadelphia hanging on to the very bitter end. Trance has been used, but the kills continue to come in for Los Angeles Gladiators, and this might be the moment, but they keep tapping the point. Philadelphia keep their hopes alive, just barely. They need to wait until the tanks can get back into the fight, but I doubt they're going to be able to make it in time, although the D.Va is waiting right around the corner. She's going to try and get in, but it's not going to happen, and the Gladiators run it back. They go down 0-2 at the beginning of this series, and then win the following 3 maps. The W is theirs, and the Gladiators stand tall on home turf.
You don't think Overwatch is a game about composition, switches, and versatility? Maximus Decimus Surefourius just showed you what it's all about.
Yeah, there you go. You can see the hype as well. Everybody, you gotta be, that's the best feeling in the world. They're on top of it right now. When you run it back in that fashion, showing the depth of the roster, Hydration getting a hug. And all in front of the home fans as well.
Played Widow, switches to Zarya. You know, it's not a big crossover. Not a lot of people have both of those in their pool.
Surefour is ridiculously powerful. Going to be very fun to see his stats at the end of this series. What he was able to accomplish. Philadelphia, though, you can't be ashamed of your performance if you're Philly. When it goes that long, it's all the small factors that add up. But I mean, you really show that you're a capable team here, Philadelphia, and that, well, you're 2-2 now in the standings. 2 wins, 2 losses, but you've done the damage.
I mean, Philadelphia beat some good teams. Los Angeles just beat Philly.
And so now we're going to hand it over to Zoe on the floor. I believe she's there with Bishu, and so we'll get a word from him.
Yeah, guys, and I have Bishu joining me. First of all, of course, congratulations. What an amazing comeback, pulling out that reverse sweep. What adjustments were made going into that second half?
I think it was mainly about playing our own game. We were getting a little bit out-tempoed and out-pressure, but, you know, like our coach always says, it's not over until it's over, right?
All right, well, that's certainly true. You watched that last game. How do you feel? How did you feel watching that?
To be honest, it was a little close. It was a little bit more close than I expected, but, you know, I'm so proud of my team. I'm so proud of you guys!
That's the spirit, and so are you fans. Bishu, congrats. Thanks so much for joining me. We're now breaking down that game on our disc.
Thank you so much, Zoe. Did you guys enjoy that one? What an amazing finish to an awesome day of the Overwatch League right here. Welcome back to close things out. It's Puckett, excuse me, I said Bren. We got Crumbs here with Reinforce on our desk, and we got a lot of action to talk through. At the half, we saw Philadelphia Fusion coming in with a 2-0 lead. We thought they'd be able to close it out. Gladiators dug deep, and it started on this control point. I was really worried, though, because coming in, we talked about the FARs. It's going to be Shadowburn. He has been one of the most, if not the most impressive FAR we've seen so far. Hydration, his FAR is pretty good, but when this game started to play out, I was really amazed to see how much work Asher was doing on the floor. We're going to get to that in just a moment, but I want to start here with Johnny. And Johnny, we're going to look at what was going wrong here for the Philadelphia Fusion.
Yes, we know that Fraggy, of course, is a very aggressive Winston player. And with Poco, of course, they both like to be a bit up front. And we're going to take a look at a clip here where maybe we go a bit too deep. So we're at the lighthouse here. And I want to take a look at Asher's health in the top right corner, right here. So as I play this one forward, we're going to see that he's actually hit by a rocket and drops a lot of health. There we go. And so right now Asher is put in a pretty weird position because he can't do these flanks, which he is known for. Usually we see Los Angeles Gladiators going for a lot of deep dives, and Asher is the one flanking around. But because he took damage to himself, he really can't dive anymore. And so he is forced back onto the point. And so we're going to see the entire squad of the Los Angeles Gladiators regroup at the point. And because Asher is hit by this rocket, that is the go call for the Philadelphia Fusion. And as we play this clip out, we can see it here in the free cam as well. The tanks of Philadelphia Fusion a bit too enthusiastic about diving here. And Asher on the Tracer, because he cannot flank because he was hit by that rocket, he will now focus the tanks instead, and Fraggy and Poco is taken down.
So the tank's just getting a little over-aggressive in that situation. How far do you want to go when you do see a key player like Asher who's hit with a rocket?
Well, first of all, he was healed up by the Mercy, so you can't really punish the Tracer hard enough. Now, the control point was open, so essentially Philadelphia is forced to go deep and contest the point at least, because otherwise Gladiators is forced to get they will get the cap, of course. But now Poco, he went to the other side of the point, which is a bit too deep, so maybe halfway there, at least touch the point.
As we take a look at some of the general highlights here, this is what we were talking about. Yeah, there's two FARs up in the sky, but Asher with that single pulse bomb hits the Mercy, sends the Winston flying, and then really, Hydration, able to get some big knocks in this game.
Yeah, I really thought before this matchup that Shadowburn was going to be able to prove Hydration that he was a superior FAR, but that was not the case at all. Hydration showed up huge in the second half of this game, being able to bust out multiple heroes, the Pharah, the Genji, the Doomfist, and he was just doing so much work that he straight up outclassed Shadowburn in this matchup and ended up carrying the 2 points.
And as you can see, Bishu was always ready with that D.Va to shut things down if Shadowburn started taking over the game.
Just a little tidbit, if you're playing D.Va against the Pharah, don't defense matrix, just run your body into her because she'll kill herself that way.
Yeah, let her blow herself up. Let's move it on now, Johnny, as we wrap up our post-game show. Game number 4, Gladiators holding strong on Numbani. As we take a look at some of the general highlights, let's talk about standout players. Asher had a great game. Well, you put him on the bench after game 3, and you let Surefork come into play with Hydration. What was the plan from the Gladiators?
Well, the plan from the Gladiators is playing their own game as they said themselves. Now, of course, we saw the Doomfist coming out of Hydration, which was a big surprise, but it actually shut down the flankers from Philadelphia Fusion quite a lot, because if you're hit by that one punch into a wall, you're dead. And so that forces Philadelphia Fusion to slow down their game quite a lot because of that Doomfist pick. And also we saw the Pharah coming out of Hydration, of course, which the Philadelphia Fusion, they don't really have anything to counter it when they're running the Shadowburn on the Genji and Carpe on the Tracer.
Well, on the defense, actually, also, Carpe ended up running the Doomfist into the unsuspecting Pharah, and that was just a complete... You basically give up the point at that point, so it was so easy for the Gladiators on Numbani to go through and make sure that they can get the point.
Was that a greedy pick to go Doomfist on the first point defense of Numbani?
Maybe it can work, but not versus Pharah. So it's a bit risky, yeah, because it's so easy to count.
But you don't know they're going to be Pharah.
Well, we don't know, sure, but it's very good versus all other heroes than Pharah. So.
That's very true. You can lock down that tunnel. Okay, so we now have a 2-2 game. We're going to speed it along. Final game 5. This is a decider, and coming into the match, we said this series is really going to help us determine the hierarchy amongst the top 6 in the league. Gladiators, they rallied off 2 wins to get here, and they lock it up with the 3rd, and we were all surprised by the composition they brought into this final control.
It was triple DPS. Triple DPS. I'm so happy I finally get to see it, because they speed up the tempo so hard. We saw Surefour, who is one of the most dangerous players on this squad. We saw Hydration up in the sky on the Pharah, creating so much pressure, and then Asher, of course, he started popping up on Ilios, and he just carried the momentum forward. So the Los Angeles Gladiators, getting the 2 last maps, they just carried the momentum.
And the Gladiators said that they wanted to play their own game, but by playing the triple DPS, they actually forced Philly to do the same thing. They had to switch into the Widowmaker to try to deal with Surefour's Widow, and that just was so late that it bought so much time, and by the time we got to the second point here, this was just a battle of ultimates left, right, and center.
Johnny, you go back, your Philadelphia Fusion, and you look at this series, you said, man, we threw an easy one away. What do they take away from this series? Were they the better team today, or do you think the Gladiators at the end of Stage 1 will be ranked higher?
I think overall Philadelphia is still the better team of the 2, but now Gladiators popped off. I'm sorry, guys.
We forgive you.
But no, I think that Carpe, with a few adjustments, maybe we can see Carpe on the McCree. He can shut out and Doomfist himself, or Hydration in the sky. But they stuck to the Genji and Tracer, and they were outplayed.
I'm of a different opinion here, because what we saw out of the Gladiators was very different from what Philly... I saw composure here out of this team. They're down 0-2, and they actually pulled through way harder than any other time. They were composed against Seoul Dynasty before as well, so I think that this team being able to showcase that they can manage their emotions carries them a long ways. We've seen many other teams be able or be unable to deal with their emotions when it comes to game day.
The true MVP of this match is our crowd in the front row. Shout out to making the peacock crumbs. We got to wrap things up here with our player of the match from the final series of the day. And this one, it's going to Hydration. We had Shadowburn listed after just map 2. Hydration's play in the second half of this game earns him the honors as our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. And guys, he did it all, from the Pharah to the Roadhog on Ruins. He was hitting all of his shots, coming up clutch. He even played the Doomfist effectively.
Yes, and I sort of want to compare Hydration to Agilities in one sense, because they are both playmakers in many ways. Hydration is a player that often pops off. Now, I prefer the more conservative, the more disciplined approach, Silk Thread, etc. But Hydration, when he goes off, he goes off. Now, is it consistent? I don't know.
And look at these Brazilian numbers he's dropping here. Crumbs, break them down for me. What's the most impressive?
Well, let's see. The most impressive thing I'd say would just be the hero damage done. 18,000 on your Genji. You're usually not hitting that many projectiles for these hero, considering that at some point there were triple tanks being ran, so he was actually able to do a whole lot out of this hero and get some good Dragon Blades.
Hydration, he has been an X-factor for this Gladiator team that is now in the positive. Congratulations to the Gladiators for a fantastic showing. Hydration, your player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. We got to close out the show by looking at today's results as we look back at all 3 matches. Let's real quickly hit all of these. Fuel versus the Outlaws coming in. We thought this one would be so close, but instead, it's the Houston Outlaws walking away with a 4-0, Johnny.
Yes, and Jake really showed up on the Genji, of course, and he just shut down the entire Dallas Fuel squad. Dallas Fuel continuing to play pretty slow, not without time move for the first 3 maps, and it was their downfall this time.
Put Taimu back in, keep Linkser and Jake in your roster if you're Houston. Later, we saw the Excel pick up 3 maps against the Valiant, who falls for the first time.
And we really got to see their full arsenal on display here between Pine, Sebiobi, and Libero, and even Jonak. Throw him in the mix right there. They're just, all of them able to show up, and they still have more players coming that can fill these DPS roles, so this team will only get stronger.
And you just saw the epic conclusion as the Gladiators rally off 3 straight maps to seal the final deal against the Fusion. Gladiators now advancing to 2-1, and as you take a look at the overall leaderboard, here's how it shakes out. We got the Dynasty, the Excel, all at 3-0. London Spitfire, another fully Korean lineup, still with a perfect record. We'll see them against Dallas later in the week. And then, of course, Gladiators Valiant taking over the 4-5 spot. Houston at 2-2 will lock up number 6, tied there with Philly. So many more games to go here throughout the regular season, and it continues tomorrow at 4 p.m. We're opening it up with the Boston Uprising trying to upset the Seoul Dynasty. A little bit later on, it's a battle of our 0-3 squads as the Dragons match up against the Mayhem, and we'll shut it all down. 8 p.m. London Spitfire versus Dallas Fuel. If you're a Dallas fan, you know the importance of this match. They are in the hole. It's time to start digging your way out. Fellas, we had a fantastic day. Highlight for you, Crumbs. What was the best moment of day 2 for anyone who is just joining the end of the show and going back to watch some VODs?
My highlight was the LA Gladiators pulling out the win out of the rabbit hole. I really did not think they were going to be able to maintain such levels of composure and improve their performance, but they sure did. And as their coach says, it's not over till it's over. And apparently, I am now some sort of ornament.
Embrace your spines? Johnny, best moment for you on day 2?
Well, it was the Pine Show yet again for the New York Excelsior. Shut down Los Angeles pretty handsomely. So I'm going with Pine Show.
Pine Show, I love the calls, and I love that all of you guys were amazing all day long. Thanks for coming down to the Blizzard Arena. Thank you for supporting us online. Keep the hashtag flowing. Overwatch League all week long. The action continues with day 3 of week number 2. Once again, it's kicking off at 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you then.
So those are the guys